Hello, so creative, it's Faustina here. Welcome to another interesting tutorial. Today's tutorial we're going to learn how to cut and sew this beautiful two-piece you are seeing on the screen. See how beautiful it's looking on me. It's giving this big auntie vibe. So if it's something that you would like to watch how I cut and put it together, grab your popcorn and sit and keep watching, and let's dive into the cutting and sewing of this beautiful two-piece, both the short and the top. We are going to learn how to cut and put it together. So let's dive into the tutorial of today. We achieved this beautiful look with just 3 yards of Ankara fabric, and I've gone ahead to fold my fabric using my hip divide by 4 plus extra 5 inches allowance because it's a free top. And I've gone ahead to mark out my starting line. After marking out my starting line, we are going to proceed in marking our shoulder measurement, which is our shoulder divided by 2. We are going to impute the value, and we're also going to mark out our neck width of 4 inches. I'm going to mark it out like so. After marking it on the shoulder, I'm going to come down by 1 inch to get our shoulder slope, and I'm going to taper that 1 inch to our neck width. And from that our shoulder slope, I'm going to come down by 9 inches to get our armhole depth. I have already taught how to get your armhole depth. Your bust divide by 6 plus 1.5 inches will give you your perfect armhole depth. But because this is a free top, I added extra 1 inches, making a total of 2.5 inches. So from my starting line, I'm also going to mark out my waistline into several places, and after marking it, I'm going to go ahead and rule it out with my pattern curve. And after marking it to get a straight line, I'm also going to mark out the length of our top. The length of our top should be 25, but because we have a ruch by the side, I added extra 5 inches, making it 30 inches in total. So after marking the 30 inches, I also went ahead to mark out 1.5 inches, which I'm going to use for the hemming of the top, and I mark it into several places. And I also went ahead to rule it out like so. And all our vertical lines are ready. We are going to proceed in marking the horizontal line, which is the body circumference of our body. On that chest line, I'm going to mark out the shoulder divide by 2 as well in order to get our armhole line. So after getting your armhole line, I'm going to come down to get the midpoint, and I'm going to go out by 1/2 inch and taper it all over to our shoulder slope. And on that chest line, I'm going to now go ahead and impute our bust divide by 4 measurement plus extra 3 inches for ease allowance because it's a free top. I added extra 3 inches for ease allowance. And on the waist as well, I did our waist divide by 4 plus extra 3 inches ease allowance. Ease allowance is allowance that give your clothes freeness. And on the hip as well, I divided the hip divide by 4 plus 3 inches is allowance. So I also went ahead to mark out my hip divide by 4 plus 3 inches is allowance. Top length is close to our hip line, so that is the reason why I use our hip on the top length. Our hip divide by 4 plus extra 3 inches is allowance. And after getting all our body measurements, I'm going to add extra 2 inches by the side for the sewing allowance, and I'm going to add it on the waistline, on the bust line, and also on our hip line. And I'm also going to go ahead and join the lines together like so. So after joining the lines together, we are going to go ahead and mark out our neck depth. But before then, we are going to add 1/2 inch sewing allowance around that armhole because we are cutting directly on fabric, so we need to add our sewing allowance before we cut it. So for the neck depth, I'm going to come down by 1 inch and cut out our neck depth. So this drafting is basically for the back, because the front is v-neck and also has a slit at the center. So because of that, that is the reason why we cut out the back first, because we are going to use this back to cut out the front. So after cutting it, we are going to go ahead and fold another fabric like so, and after folding the fabric, we leave like 1 inch at that center front. Look at 1 inch at that center front, because it's going to have a slit and also an opening by the down side. So that is the reason why we left that 1 inch. It's going to have an opening at the down side, which is a slit, and we are going to cut through that center front. That is the reason why we added extra 1 inch allowance, because if you cut through the center front, you still need allowance to join the center front together. And we are going to cut all the other parts exactly, and after cutting it, I'm going to remove the back from the front so that we can go ahead and cut our v-neck. For the v-neck, I came down by 8 inches because I want a moderate v-neck. That 8 inches, I'm going to use my pattern curve to give it a curvy v-neck. I don't want my v-neck to be straight. V-neck used to be more finer when it's a little bit curvy. So after curving it, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, and our clothes is basically ready. I went ahead to cut it and also slash the center. Like I said earlier, the center front is slash because it has a slit at the damper. So when you slash it, this is how it's gonna be, and this is how you're gonna fold the center slit, which is the center opening. So that is the reason why we added that extra 1 inch, so that we see allowance to join it together. So I'm basically cutting the sleeve. The sleeve is big. Just measure your sleeve. I have a well detailed tutorial on how you can achieve your basic sleeve here on my channel. So if you don't understand what I'm doing, you can go over to my channel and watch that tutorial. Just add your round sleeve, your calf sleeve, and that is it. You join, put your sewing allowance, and you go ahead and cut through your sleeve. After cutting the sleeve, we proceed in cutting the facing that we are going to use to turn both the back and the front. So this is the back face. You can see how I cut it out using a pieces of fabric, and this is what it's looking like. We are going to use it to turn the back facing, and this is for the front. We also use a pieces of fabric to cut out the front. So watch closely and see how I cut out the facing. After tracing the actual neck, the other back, you are going to now curve it the way you want, or the way you feel like. You curve it like so. If you want to use measurement, you can also go ahead and use measurement like 4 or 5 and measure all around the facing. So after trimming the facing, we proceed in sewing it. I'm going to face the right side of the facing, facing the right side of our fabric. I'm going to pin it down and go and sew 1/2 inch all around the neck, and also do the same thing to the back. Place the facing the right side, facing the right side of our main working fabric, pin it down and run a stitch on it. And I'm basically going to go and sew it and come back and show you the outcome. So I've gone ahead to sew it. The next thing you should do is to notch where you have sewn, and after notching, you top stitch. You flip the facing to the other side, top stitch on it before you now flip it to the wrong side. This is how you get a perfect turning of your neck. So I've gone ahead to turn these ones, and this is how the outcome is looking. So after turning, you can go ahead and iron press it so that it will look so neat and fast. You can also use your hemming gun to hem down the facing. So after turning the facing of our front, we are going to now proceed in marking out the 1 inches we put on the center front in order to close that center front. So before you close it, you are going to mark out where you want your slit to be, like how long you want your slit to be. So after determining how long you want that center slit to be, you are going to now mark out 1 inches, and we are going to sew on that 1 inches, while the opening part we are going to use our hemming gun to hold it down or you sew on it. So I've gone ahead to sew it, and this is how it's looking when you open it up. You can see that this v-neck is looking so fine and sweet. So this is how yours is going to come out if you curve it a little bit. And I'm basically going to use my hemming gun to hold down this opening slit. And should in case you don't have lights in your house, you can go ahead and sage it and just sew it on top of it. So after hemming that opening, we are going to join the shoulder by joining the shoulder by 1/2 inch, and after joining the shoulder we are going to mark out the side. So the side, you are going to mark out what you have already, like the allowance you added over there, and we are going to proceed in adding the sleeve. So after adding the sleeve, I've gone ahead to sew the 2 rope we are going to use to make that ruche by the side, and this is how you do it. From the shoulder, I'm going to come down by 18 inches, which is the waist. I'm going to mark out that 18 inches, and I went ahead to sage the allowances by the side so that it's gonna be neat. And we are going to open up the allowance and impute our rope in between the allowance, like so. You see what I did there? So this is how you secure your rope that you are going to use to ruche or draw the side. You put it on the allowance that you have by the side of your beautiful top, and after pinning it down, you are going to move over to your sewing machine and sew. Make sure that while sewing you don't sew on the rope so that it will be able to draw. Make sure that you don't sew on the rope, you sew aside the rope so that after sewing, when you draw, it will follow you. So I've gone ahead to sew it, and this is the outline. You can see I've ruched the one side of the top, and this is how I did it. You just go ahead and ruche it by like dragging the side up, and it will follow you asap. So after ruching it, you can go ahead and now tie it anyhow you deem it fit to tie. And this is the end of this beautiful tutorial for the top. For the neckline, we are going to upload another separate tutorial. I don't want it to confuse you, that is why I did it separately, and we are going to upload it so that you also learn and watch how I was able to achieve the down shot. You can see that our top is looking so pretty, and if you follow all this procedure, yours is also going to come out so more prettier than mine. And that is it. If you have watched to this point, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and also press the notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified anytime we upload our precious video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming to watch our video. We really appreciate your likes, comments, and everything you are doing. We are seeing you, and this is what our 2-piece is looking like. And see you in my next one, where we are going to post the short video. Bye bye.